Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Generation Iron podcast. Your host, me, Victor Martinez, along with Vlad Yudin and Edwin Mejia, talking here from Croatia.
Croatia, baby.
Back in Croatia, is that your first time in Croatia? What do you think about the town that you're in?
I mean, it's this big city. I mean, well, they all could look like kind of small, big cities here, but
Yeah.
It's Croatia. I've never been here. First time here.
Oh, wow.
And looking at going to the gym in about an hour. So it'll be about maybe 10 or 11 o'clock. I think they have these nice hotel gyms and also 24-hour gyms over here.
Nice. So needless to say, you're getting it in.
I have to get it in. I mean, I'm not getting it as often as I did back home, the 4 or 5 days a week.
Right.
I'm lucky if I get in, 3 days, which is fine because I'm actually feeling a little bit better. I think I was overtraining before,
Yeah,
that's true. Well, Vic, I know that the people want to, they want to see the podcast going. So even though you're traveling, we're back at it right now. Just back to business,
Yeah. Let's keep it going. Let's
do it.
So, do you have any questions from anyone?
Yeah.
So I mean, the topic of the day. I mean, first of all, let's start off and say thank you to our sponsor, Muscle Meds, for being with us and supporting us on this journey. Obviously, one of the biggest questions that we always keep getting is TRT related questions, and this week is no different. From Jeff Janosik, and his question was, "Hey Vic, thank you for reading my questions and putting out, which is undisputably the best podcast in fitness. Last year I started TRT and it has been going well. On a recent checkup with our hormone clinic, I asked if there is anything I can do about, essentially complementing the TRT regimen that I'm on. And basically he said that the nurse practitioner prescribed him DHEA. I'm from Canada, and this prescription was filled at a special compound pharmacy, 50 milligrams per day. My DHEA levels were with a normal range based on my recent blood work. The nurse practitioner also encouraged me to do research on HGH and said that also would be something for me to consider in the future. I'm 42 years old. I work out, eat healthy, and in pretty good shape. Can Victor please provide his thoughts on supplementing TRT with DHEA and HGH and comment on the benefits of each?"
Very detailed question. He gave a lot of details, Vic. Usually people just do like one-liners. This guy
Yes.
wrote it
A
out.
lot of good details. Again, DHEA, it's been a great supplement for many years. From what I hear, I guess he got his prescribed. I guess he's not using the over-the-counter, your basic supplement. So this should definitely be more effective along with his muscle gains. And again, I was going to add GH to it, but he answered the question, to complement the TRT. That is by far one of the best ways to complement it, because when I do blood work, that's what they check usually is blood levels, from the blood panels, your test levels, your GH levels. It basically complements it all. So the only other thing I would recommend, and especially if he has any other issues, joint issues, fat burning issues, the peptides. Peptides are big right now. But I think we're going to have a topic on this right now. But some of them are actually very good, if any, not any side effects reported on them. But I have used DHEA long time. I think Twin Lab was making it back in the days, and it's a very good supplement.
Throwback.
Yes, GH, again, use it, but also try to cycle it. Try not to be on it all year round, just like anything else. But if you are on TRT, what was his age?
42.
Yeah, you're in a perfect age to actually be a good candidate to maintain this probably year round. But please check your levels, and also make sure you check those gonads, man. You don't want to just stay on it all year round. And a lot of times it kind of start shriveling up. So I would recommend every once in a while take a hit of ECG and some Clomid there. Again, not just in particular, to have any kids or anything like that. It just, you need to have them low. You feel better also at the same time. But those supplements and the other ones, the HGH, are great. Combining them with the TRT, and you should get the best results combining all three of them together.
Wow, that's
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah. So all three is good to go, basically. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just gonna be, I mean, it's just like anything. When you go to the gym, if you are natural, you're gonna use the creatine. You're gonna use the, the proteins. You're gonna use the BCAA, EAE, ASS. All the other supplements that are basically gonna complement one, on top of the other. So this is the best way to get the most out of it. And, keep notes how you feel, keep notes on how you look. I would say take pictures, you'll see where your peak performance is. And a lot of times, if you don't need it and you're feeling good, why add more? So keep that in mind. If you're feeling good, looking good, don't bother to add more. So I would have to say add one at a time, TRT. Let's go with DHEA. See, try that for a couple of weeks by itself with the TRT. And maybe on the third or fourth week, try the GH and then see if that's going to be that happy medium or that's going to be enough. Just don't keep adding to get, in some competitive type of look or feeling, Again, you have to feel comfortable, feel healthy, look good, and that's about it, So follow that protocol and you should be good.
And just for those who don't know, what exactly is DHEA? As a supplement also?
Yeah, DHEA is a supplement, yes. And then HGH is HGH, human growth hormone.
Got it. All right, well, Jeff Janasic, this is not a medical advice, but nevertheless.
It's kind of like the fish oil. I use fish oil, but I use the medicated fish oil. I believe it feels better, you can buy fish oil anywhere, but I prefer the medicated because when I ingest it, I don't have that, reflux every time I burp. You don't have the oil. Right. You don't burp out the oil. So it sets better in the system and it feels good for the joints and and a good heart health as well.
Right. So Jeff is the winner of Muscle Med Supply for this week. Jeff, hit us up and we'll send it out to you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vic.
Yeah, I mean that leads us to the similar topic we mentioned peptides. I mean, obviously peptides now are highly recommended for a lot of bodybuilders, right, Vic? But what we've recently learned is that they've soon to become, or they're in the process of making them a Schedule II drug.
Yeah.
In certain pharmacies. So
always the FDA. They don't get their cut, man. They don't want to see it. They don't want to have it.
Have you heard about that? So they're becoming a Schedule II drug, basically, and a lot of pharmacies will stop carrying it soon. Have you heard about that?
Yes, of course. And one of the big outspoken person on this was Rick Collins. He's one of the ones that's a advocate for this. He's the one that kept saying, look, if we don't watch out, this is where it's going to lead. And look, he hit the nail right on the head. And he's one of the guys that tries to, keep that from happening. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with FDA and you have a supplement that actually works, but they don't understand it yet, instead of doing more research, they should just start, kind of doing the research and seeing how much benefits it has, more the pros and and the cons. And they just don't care. If they don't get a cut for some reason, it's just, look, how long did it take them to really restrict all these other drugs, Percocets, which was for the pain, but highly addictive, they just didn't care, So now they're doing that with peptides. A lot of athletes have been recovering with major injuries after surgery, avoiding injuries because they're using it. And so the benefits outweigh the risk, if you ask me, So that's what they need to be doing more than just putting everything on the Schedule II, because now it's going to go black market. And guess what? Is it going to stop people from using it? Not at all. People, they're still going to have places. If anything, China is going to make even more money now because they're going to keep on making it, keep on dispersing it. So it's just a whole new world.
Do you think it's going to affect the bodybuilders, or you think they're going to find a way to get it anyway, regardless?
Oh, no, bodybuilders won't affect the bodybuilder. Again, it's an underground world. It's just, especially with internet now, it's kind of very, very hard. It's like abortions in these states, You're really going to stop it, you go order a pill and get it the next day, FedEx, It's just not going to happen. You can restrict it, make it harder, help people, hold people criminally liable for it. But at the end of the day, they really can't keep up with the demand, and it's so many people doing it. What are they going to do? Arrest freaking half the country?
I mean, they could, I guess.
A fraction of it to actually work out, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to affect anyone. It'll just make it harder, but just more of an effort for people to, get it now, because they know it's true, it works, it's real, it's effective. I can't get it now as easy, but guess what? I know someone that knows someone that's got a guy that's got a girl that knows someone, and there's a doctor. And there's always a couple of rogue doctors that just love it. They love it, they believe in it, and they'll help you. They will help you attain it.
Sure.
Not because they're trying to push it, not because they're trying to make more money off it, but they know if you give them this, they will avoid this other bigger issue that they're having. It's kind of like the joint therapy, the BPC-157. That one is just probably the most, I think that one is the one you heard the most of, right? BPC-157, MOTS-e, fat burning. I mean, there's so many good ones. And again, I believe everyone should just educate themselves, know what they actually do, know that they're not steroids. And they make so many different kinds for so many different, issues that will help you physically.
But it's so strange because on one hand, things are getting looser, a lot of things are getting legalized, right? Like the recreational drugs on one hand, right? But then like on the other hand, this is getting like more bad now. It's like a disconnect, it seems like, right?
Right now, again, I mean, look at steroids in the, late 90s. You get caught with it, you're gonna do time. You 2-3 years. Now you get caught. The same cop that stops you and catches a few bottles in your car, he's like, "Oh man, this is all you have. I got better shit than you." So it's one of those things that they get lax on it, but when it first starts, it's they're gonna try and throw the book at people. But I don't think it's gonna be as bad because again, nobody gets strung out. It's not addictive. Doesn't kill you. It only enhances you or heals any other issues you might have within your system.
It's interesting because there was actually one of the topics today. The UFC parted ways with USADA, which is like the pinnacle of drug testing in the sports, right? USADA. And that was over the whole Conor McGregor thing where he was recovering from the ankle break. And I guess maybe he was on something at some point, but they gave him like a certain amount of window where he couldn't be tested for steroids. And I guess they were contesting that and they wanted to keep testing him as he was recovering or whatever. And I guess UFC got fed up with that situation, so they parted ways. Now, I think they got some other organization to drug test for them, but it's like a pretty clear message.
It's a little weird only because we don't know where they're actually parting ways, exactly. Exactly. We know they're parting ways because of a situation of Conor McGregor. They want him to fight. He's one of the big,
of course,
guys that brings money to the UFC.
Exactly. Yeah.
But is it just the steroids? Is it something else? Is is it just that?
I think it's everything combined. Steroids, everything, yeah. But ultimately, he might have been using something as he was recovering from that crazy injury, you know what I mean? Maybe peptides too, right? Peptides used for recovery, right? A bunch of stuff. But
it could be that. It could be something else. I don't know. McGregor's been a little wild out there lately and stuff,
But
so it's
do
just,
you think that sends a message that basically organization like UFC or maybe somebody else is kind of like, maybe they don't care as much at this point about steroids or other substances? You know what I'm trying to say?
I feel like the main focus is the UFC. The main focus is getting those pay-per-views, getting those views, getting those athletes, getting those athletes work, but at the end of the day, UFC is for UFC first. The athletes are usually never first. I don't care what organization you're with. It's just the organization is always first. Athlete comes second. So if you're gonna have your biggest money bringer, not being able to compete, then you have to find a way to kind of have this. You got to fix this. You got to fix this. You got to get him back. You got to figure out a way. I hope he's not doing an amount that's going to give him an edge, but we don't know what the real situation is. Like, what is that one thing that's in his system that this organization is not letting him compete? Like, what is it? You know, so we had an answer like that, then we could say, hey, you know what, that's not that crazy, but we don't have an answer to that.
Well, do you remember like 5 years ago, John Jones, they penalized him like crazy. They canceled the fight for I think it was edible steroid or something like that they caught him with. And then afterwards, they took away the title.
Trinkets.
They took away the title actually because he tested. There was no contest after he won. He knocked out, remember DC?
Yep.
Daniel Cormier. Anyway, but then they took away the win. Ultimately, they punished him for that. You know what I mean? So in this situation here, it seems like UFC is sending a message like, you know what, just let us do our thing, and we don't care about the testing as much anymore. Do you think that's the case?
It's probably the case again. That was a while ago, and again, he's not a big as doesn't pull in the views that McGregor does. You know, things get a little lax over time. So again, when you do it, and I don't know how many times he got caught, and also how much was in his system.
Twice at least, yeah.
At least two times.
Yeah.
There you go. So I think that was the biggest factor. Also, the number of times. You know, so. I think at the end of the day, fighting clean.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, all these guys, I mean, to a degree, are on or have been on or are on some sort of substance that is not detectable.
Essentially, yeah.
You know, and that's what you hear a lot, especially now. Even Bradley Martin on a recent podcast, I think he was saying, or a recent interview, said that Logan was on steroids as well.
Have you seen that crazy fight? Have you seen that boxing match between Logan Paul last weekend? That was something else.
I don't know what the hell. I mean, listen.
That was weird.
Listen, I don't know Dylan, personally. I do follow him, but he's definitely a street talking, snapping guy. He's better at it. He's like a freaking black belt at that. But in the ring, I don't know what the hell was that, man.
I don't know what that was, man. That was the weirdest boxing match.
Floor, he was kicking like my wife does when we're getting frisky, It's like, excellent, kicking off the floor, dude.
Oh my god. No, but that was the weirdest shit ever. But Bradley Martin made a post. I think it was either during the fight or after the fight. He said Logan Paul is definitely on steroids. Did you catch that?
Saw that. He is in pretty good shape. I mean, what's his supplement? I don't know. Is his supplement jacked up now? It's his supplement company, but he is in pretty good shape. I mean, did he do it in the right amount of time? Did he get off in the right amount of time? Does he also own the freaking testing for that organization? I mean, he doesn't fight under an organization, right?
Well, that was part of some kind of. It was sanctioned by somebody, right? It was.
Yeah, it was sanctioned by somebody, but I don't know who the somebody is. That somebody that got.
That means it was real. It was sanctioned by somebody.
So I don't know. If he did, do something, at the end of the day, he's not that crazy looking. He is in good shape. He still is young, He has money. There's no reason why he shouldn't be in that kind of shape anyways.
My point is this, Vic. My point is this. Do you think PEDs at this point should be just allowed in every sport, including combat sports, and just not tested for? I
mean, every sport has to be even playing field, The majority of the guys usually say they don't want anybody using So
well, if it's not tested, then the playing field is level because then anybody can be using it. Therefore,
well, I think it needs to be a level playing field, especially if you're on a professional bodybuilding stage, and all of a sudden, some guys may have access to better PEDs. I guess.
That's their.
But that's the thing, and it has happened. It has happened in the past. Of
course,
guys getting drunk. They show up to the show. You're like, what the hell? Where were you, man? Using that Chinese, but it's the even playing field. It's kind of hard to kind of weigh that in. What is the even playing field? It's like, here's all the juice for one brand, one company. You all get to use it. Let the best man win.
Right. Well, which kind of brings me to this question, which is an interesting question, right? Where is bodybuilding the only sport? Well, professional bodybuilding, right? Is that the only sport where two competitors actually train together and also compete against each other? So recently, you see guys
when you have the same coach.
Yeah, but that's okay. So I've never seen that in any other sport. Personally, I don't think have you? I mean,
he's talking about, like, let's say LeBron James is playing against Kobe Bryant, and then they work out together in the gym before the game. That's weird.
Well, they can't do that legally. It's part of the contract, to their team. They can't actually legally do.
That's what I'm saying. So you don't see that in any other sport. But just recently, about a week ago, you saw Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan training together
with the same coach
for the Olympia, less than 4 weeks out, right?
They're the same coach, and they're sponsored by the same coach's brand, which is Evogen. So
is bodybuilding the only sport that exists in? That's a question.
No, I mean, will you consider golf a sport? I mean, these guys start together.
Well, I don't think Tiger Woods is hanging out with his competitor before the game.
It is strange. It is strange. Come on, to do that is strange.
I think maybe I seen it back in the days with boxing, but with bodybuilding, it's totally different because again, it's like I said, you have the same coach, the same supplement company. You know, me and I think. Akeem Williams, we competed against each other. We're with the same company, and it's the most common. But regardless of you guys training together, we're not gonna fight each other. We're just gonna get up there. We'll bring our best physique. So they don't make a big thing about it, and I don't think there's gonna be a fix when it goes to boxing or anything like that. And they think when somebody's getting a little bit too comfortable with the other fighter, they start getting suspicious about a fix, Right, they want to make the most money. So getting the fix is the most worry with them, Right. So it kind of varies with every sport as well,
But it's still like if you're working out with your coach, you're supposed to have a strategy, right? How to beat that other guy. You come up with the strategy.
Yes,
right?
Yes. You gotta have a strategy. You're teaching your training system to somebody else, and it's kind of like now. If I'm better skilled, have better genetics, now with this system, I have the edge over you.
Listen, at the end of the day, we know what I mean. As we've been a part of many Generation Shine series movies here. One thing we've realized from covering these events is that if you don't have real competition and rivalry to a degree of some sort of rivalry, you don't really have excitement.
It is boring.
Now, some people will say that's not true. Some people will say we just want to see guys compete and get on stage, but when you really start to draw attention to athletes for a show, you see the competition, you see the rivalry, you see them training in different places, not necessarily the same gym. So I think that's really what that was one of the biggest questions that we had that was coming in is that hey, we just saw Derek Lunsford and Hadi Choopan competing. Training with each other 4 weeks. 4 weeks out or less than 4 weeks out to the Olympia. Is that a good thing? That's not a question we could ask, but we wanted to ask you that because it's something that we have not been used to seeing. People can say you see it, of course, with athletes that are sponsored by the same company, but we haven't seen that.
Yeah, never seen that. But the only other thing I have seen is the coach. I remember when Charles Glass used to train the top 5 guys. Charles Glass is probably the one that had the most guys training under him that have become, top Mr. Olympias, and, maybe not become Mr. Olympia, but top competitive Mr. Olympia competitors up there. And with Derek I know he's chasing the Olympia. I know Hadi is the champ now. So it's more of a question of how does Derek feel training with a guy he wants to beat, can beat, and ultimately Ronnie Coleman even said it, probably will beat, this coming Olympia. So
right, it's kind of
how do you strategize and how do you psych him out? Where's his head at with this? I want to know that. So
that's a great point.
Is the coach going to pay more attention to the other guy or the next hopeful?
And that's the real question. And that's the real question there.
Yeah, that's a good question. You've seen like the old school bodybuilding, show, kind of events. Also, you've seen it like the pumping irons and all these other the movies from back in the day, guys training together. But you haven't seen that recently up until now. So that was a curious question.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's good to watch, but at the end of the day, you got to keep them separated to the day of the show. You got to keep it separated. It's like you got to have the anticipation. You got to have the, just that moment of you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how anyone looks. And I don't think guys should be posting anything 3 weeks out from the Olympia anyways,
Yeah, well, then now you're going to see Bob Cigarillo and I guess Dennis James asking him, "Hey, so how does it feel to compete against each other and then train with each other?" I mean, it's kind of weird, I think. But.
Press conference.
I know. Let's see what happens then, Let's see what happens at a press conference and see how much energy they're going to have to say, "I'm going to kick your ass," or "I'm going to beat your ass." It's not getting passive, especially if they have a nice, close for comfort workout. You guys going to feel bad kind of trash talking at him.
Right.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us in this week's podcast. And please, if you want to see any of our past episodes, tune in to iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you choose to get your live podcast streaming. See you guys the next time from Croatia, and we won't know what country I'll be in next.
Don't get into trouble, bro.
Stay out of trouble. We'll see you back here.
Impossible, man. We're moving too much.
All right, brother.
Bye.
All right, guys. Later.
Take care, man.
Hey, yo, listen up, man. Milk is for baby. Beef built muscle. You hear me? Yeah, I said it. Beef built muscle. Carnivore Nation, baby. RTDs, baby. On the go. Let's get it. Milk is for babies. Beef it up with Carnivore RTDs. 40 grams of protein, 0 fat, 0 sugar, 0 lactose. Get yours today.